Pictures the gates of the Supreme Court. Security definitely very tight since a day or two before this hearing began, and we are bringing you those live pictures from the Supreme Court. In the morning, there were altercations here and there on who really is allowed to get into or to access the court and who isn't. A number of leaders whose bodyguards and assistants were told they could not get past that gate if they don't have clearance. So we witnessed altercations here and there from a number of leaders. So we've seen the Attorney General and a number of leaders there from Jubilee and the IEBC representing President Uhuru Kenyatta and representing IEBC as a first respondent, just making it back to the court about 10 minutes now before the court resumes. The 1 hour break it's gone really fast, if you ask me. But of course, this afternoon, in this afternoon session, we will be seeing the interested party taking the stage. They had been granted only 20 minutes by the Supreme Court judges or the Chief Justice, David Maraga. So we'll be seeing Harrison Kinyanjui on behalf of one of the presidential candidates, Michael Wainaina, take the stage for 20 minutes to give his submissions. We also have two amicus curiae, and that is the Attorney General Githu Muigai, whom we've just seen get into the court, as well as the Law Society of Kenya. And this was an application that was granted, of course, with restrictions, especially for the Attorney General, who was told he can only address the court on one particular issue. And of course, we'll also see the Law Society of Kenya through lawyer Mwenesi also take the stand. Those are live pictures there, once again, from the Supreme Court. But let's speak to our senior reporter, Rita Tinina, who's been following up this case since when it was filed by NASA, to just give us an update on what really we expect and the concurrent activities that we're seeing running that will definitely affect the outcome of this particular case. Rita, good afternoon. What's the latest?
Well, a very good afternoon to you. We are waiting for the second session here at the Supreme Court to get underway. The judges, the lawyers, all the parties are taking a 1 hour break that should be ending in less than 10 minutes or so. And as you mentioned, when the session gets underway, we'll have interested party, Professor Michael Wainaina. He was an independent candidate during the elections. He will be making his submissions through his lawyer, and after that then there will be the amicus, friends of the court, Attorney General Githu Muigai, as well as the LSK, the Law Society of Kenya. Each will have 20 minutes to make their submissions. That will be 1 hour, and after that then NASA will have time to respond to the submissions that were made by the respondents. The pictures there from the gate right now already. NASA leaders, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, as well as Moses Wetangula, have already arrived here, perhaps waiting for their turn to make their final submission in response to the submissions by the respondents. The IEBC chairman, as well as President Uhuru Kenyatta. And this morning, before the court went on a break, it was the turn of Uhuru Kenyatta through his lawyers, Fred Ngatia and Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, to make their submissions. And what their submission focused on was the fact that they were arguing that in order to invalidate the election of Uhuru Kenyatta, then a right of the voter has to have been violated. They argued that the election was carried out under the Constitution, under the electoral law, and no right of any voter was violated. Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi there arguing and giving examples and saying, look, if there was a voter perhaps who crossed the border over from Ethiopia to Moyale and they voted and they were not meant to vote, then that would give a reason for the election to be invalidated. But he says all those who had a right to vote, registered voters, those who chose to vote, got the chance, and so there is no reason why the election of Uhuru Kenyatta should be invalidated. He actually termed the claims by NASA as science fiction. He said they would only attract actors and directors in Hollywood. Fred Ngatia also making his submissions, also concentrating on the issue of the Constitution, saying the election was also carried out under the Constitution and under the electoral laws. But Akisa, remember this morning there has also been another issue, and that was following the orders that were issued yesterday by the court directing the IEBC to give access, read-only access to its systems to NASA as well as Uhuru Kenyatta's team. And in the morning, from around 3 a.m. in the morning, NASA lawyers were arguing that they had not been given any access, and that matter came before the judges here in court. James Orengo saying that the process, which is going on in two places, at Milimani courts, where they are going through the forms 34A and 34B, and also at Anniversary Towers. At Anniversary Towers, that is where the server is. And Orengo was arguing that there they had not gotten access, although Paul Mwite was arguing that they were asking for more than the court had ordered. But the judges, Chief Justice David Maraga, ordered that they should be given the access that the court ordered, and he also said that if they don't by 5 p.m., then they will have some questions to answer. Paul Mwite there was arguing that the servers are located in Europe, and so that people in Europe were still asleep. Kenya is a bit ahead of Europe, but the judge said, wake them up, let them know that they need to allow access to those servers. But just before they went on the break, they reported that some progress was being made by James Orengo, asking that officers, the ones who are in the NASA team at the Anniversary Towers, be increased, and the judge ruled that 5 officers now should be allowed to go and supervise the access to the IEBC server. Akisa.
All right, and Rita, you've mentioned that we are expecting the final submissions this afternoon. Just take us through, if at all you have any, the order in which those in the court will be giving the submissions.
First of all, when the court resumes, when the session resumes, it will be Professor Michael Wainaina, an interested party, and after that, among the friends of the court, Attorney General Githu Muigai, as well as the LSK. The judges have not indicated yet who among them will be first, whether it will be Githu Muigai or whether it will be the LSK. But first, it will be Professor Michael Wainaina, then the 2 amicus. As I mentioned, each of them will take 20 minutes. That makes it 1 hour, and then NASA will be coming to give its response, the final response, and that is perhaps what has made Raila Odinga and the other NASA leaders to come and sit and listen. Remember, yesterday they were also here when their lawyers were making their submissions, and so after the 2 amicus and 1 interested parties give their submissions, then the NASA lawyers, these are led by James Orengo, will be making their final submissions before then the court can give any other final orders. The judges are expected to retire from today to go and make their ruling, their judgment. Remember, they have to issue it by Friday. That is when the 14 days stipulated under the Constitution for the Supreme Court to hear and determine a presidential petition, that is when they will lapse on Friday. The 14 days will lapse then, so we expect that maybe today they will then retire to go and make their ruling. Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, they are making his way to the court. The judges should be convening in less than 5 minutes or so. They had said the break should last until 3:30 this evening, so any moment. The lawyer still walking in from that break. And so we are waiting. Remember also the parties should be giving the report after they were given the access to the server, and also as they